Wow. So this phone call between Lori and Chad Daybell, referred to as the Doomsday Couple at the jail, is quite interesting. They are talking some serious code, and I think a few people have different versions of what that code is saying, and we're going to go over it too. So get comfortable and relax. Let's do this. So prosecutors exposed a jail call that's never been heard before, at least for people in the public, between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow discussing blueprints. It was very obvious that they were talking in code, something that they've done the whole time they've been together. The whole relationship is designed and works around deceit and lies. And probably one of the number one aspects to this relationship is the manipulation between them and each other and the people around them. At the very beginning of this recording, they begin speaking about Zion, the mission. It begins with a family, Chad says, then a town, then grows to a city, and then it starts small and then grows exponentially. Now remember, Alex Cox, Lori Vallow's brother, also considered her protective angel, referred to as Ray, Maximus, protector. Many people are not sure that Alex Cox's death was natural. They believe that possibly he could have committed suicide or been killed without being traced. So that's something to keep in mind if you're following this story.
Well, that's kind of how I've seen it. As begins with a family, and then a neighborhood, then a town, then a city. And New Jerusalem is kind of the best example of that.
What you must keep in mind is the fact that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow believe that they are the key to the future. And he says this in this phone call. And something you might know or might not know is Lori believes that Satan is constantly after her. So listen in.
Well, and they're doing all they can to destroy one of the key families, but they're not going to.
Lori believes that she knows so much, and that the fact that she knows so much, that's why Satan's after her.
I mean, there's so much that I know. I was sitting here thinking about that. I know too much.
Yes.
I can't deny it. I know it's just a matter of time. I just don't know what that time is.
So I texted Ray. He responded pretty quick.
Again, when they refer to Ray, they're referring to Alex Cox, who is no longer alive. When they believe that they are speaking in deep code, they start giggling like children.
Usually it's hard to get a hold of him. He's busy.
Okay.
James?
Yes. But I asked him what we talked about. He's very optimistic.
It was very optimistic for you, or he's very optimistic it could happen?
He's very optimistic.
So, Alex Cox feels good about Chad and Lori, whatever that is. And for what? Maybe they have summoned him to lead investigators away from Chad Daybell's property or away from them, period. They know around this time that they have people that are speaking out that was in their group. One of them being Melenie Gibb. And Lori is angry at Melenie. They speak about a paper that's been written, and that Ray tells Chad that they should stick with it, that he's optimistic. And then they go into talking about blueprints and house renovations. Now, knowing what we know now, that both J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan are buried on Chad Daybell's property, it's very clear that these two are most likely the reason investigators are able to figure out how to find Tylee and JJ. While they feel that this code talk is impossible to figure out, it's like listening to 5-year-olds try to hide a secret. So what it sounds like in this code is that they've been trying to do something to cover up something on a property, and that it's taking longer than expected.
Paper he wrote.
House renovations always take longer than they think.
That's the problem.
I've been watching that Extreme Pools, and the people are like 3 months out.
And Chad basically gives you a big clue that all these plans, they're just not moving fast enough. Now, I wasn't really able to have time to decipher this like I would have liked, but it sounds like Chad is giving suggestions and hints that he's going to move his kids into the house, and he has other plans.
When they estimated they'd have it done, and they're like, well, we had so many problems, we couldn't get to the backyard, we had to pull a crane over the house to get these huge rocks for the waterfall.
I can remember last summer, Taylor Hill, Mark's friend, parents moved into a trailer, like a camping trailer, in their driveway because they were going to build their house by the end of the year. Guess where they're still at?
Really?
They sold their house to their son. It's just a weird situation, but you're exactly right. Yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah, there's always something comes up. But we didn't know when we dug in your backyard, we were going to find whatever. And then they're like, we have to redo all the piping, and then we had trouble with this, and then something else happened.
Lori refers to finding something in the backyard. Many people believe that she is talking exactly about her 2 children who are in his backyard. To me, the tone of her voice when she's talking to Chad here, she's kind of saying, you're taking too long. This is taking way longer than expected. Get it done. If you ever listen to Lori's tone of voice, it changes when she's kind of excited, mad, angry, scared, etc. So this is her mind going in motions of telling what she believes Chad should know. Chad doesn't say much of anything other than, which means he most likely understands. And she realizes that and then changes the subject.
Mostly they do it. Florida, places like that. So he's optimistic about his construction problems.
So Lori Vallow slips up in her code words here that they agree to and says, so he's optimistic about our construction problem. She says, no, not problems. And Chad corrects her as well, and then they laugh. That is a dead giveaway. This is probably the biggest tip investigators waited for.
So he's optimistic about his construction problems. Not problems, but plan.
Yeah.
Construction plan, the blueprints are still intact.
Yeah.
They're timing.
I kind of just said, I texted him what you just said is, you guys are always a little off.
Right, exactly. We just want a real estimate.
So what's important is that Lori has been going to the temple before she met Chad to get answers for her life. And Chad was going to do his own thing, whether it be the graveyard or whatever, meditating, astro projection. He was speaking to get his own answers. So today, one of the problems with their plans is their conflicting ideas where they're getting their own answers and then trying to collaborate and make these, not so synced answers work. So what Lori's referring to here mainly is, he doesn't know his own timeline. We just want an exact estimate that actually is working, this is because everything that they planned has failed. They're not getting any answers. They're making this stuff up. And even more concerning is the fact that we know that Lori has issues already. But seeing Chad continue to feed this woman like he's doing it, leading her on as if he's really doing these things, is quite sickening. You got to remember that while Chad seems to be the leader of the ideas of these afterlives, second lives, zombies, or whatever, Lori is the executor. She makes things happen. And everything that goes wrong in their plans so far, they blame it on agency. Even Melanie Gibb attested to that. So let's listen.
Always a little off.
Right, exactly. We just want a real estimate.
Right.
What do you say?
He just laughed.
No, he did not confirm nor deny that fact. That contractors are always later than they think they're gonna be.
He's like, it'll work out, how he is.
So you have to think these contracts and blueprints might mean something differently. And I wish I had more time to really decode this, because I believe that there are a few things that they're referring to that are a little bit more serious and maybe targeting people themselves. People like Melanie Gibb. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, for those of you that are new to this case, you probably might not know, and you can check out my series Life Beyond the Grave to get more details, that Chad Daybell used this type of thing in order to control his wife, Tammy Daybell, claiming that he spoke to spirits, one of them being Tammy's grandmother, and that she would give him information to give to Tammy. One of those things being Tammy needed to quit playing the games on Facebook.
So
go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna say, so you think it was meant to have complications and meant to go that direction?
At some point, yeah.
Well, then I should have said, hey, this is a 99% chance that we're going to have trouble with this soil.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's all we were asking.
Well,
could this potentially be good, or do we have to fill it with sand?
Well, I think we sensed that we shouldn't take it lightly, and I don't think we did. I mean, we only discussed the matter with the trouble once, and I thought we cut it off and did well, and now that problem is kind of causing its own trouble for itself.
Right. But there's other things in the project where when I'm going back over it, right, that I could have easily done or been inspired to do to avoid a lot of the issues that are going to come up with that.
Yeah.
That we weren't made aware of, so you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it was meant to go this way, you think? That's what I'm saying.
I do. It's terrible.
One can only guess or speculate what they're referring to, because there's so many radical ideas this couple has going on. But one of those things could be, what they found in the backyard. And then also the trouble that they're running into is Melanie Gibb being a witness. This is something I think Lori is referring to that she could have took care of to prevent it from getting this far. And the fact that they would be so cornered. Lori can sense that Chad isn't quite himself, and she's kind of, having empathy for him. Not for her children, but for Chad.
What?
Oh, I just wish it hadn't been. But I'm thinking of previous blueprints where the people weren't warned either.
So here, blueprint seems to refer to lives. Remember that they believe that they've had past lives together, and how those didn't go so great either at times. And now they're saying that this lifetime, most likely this is the direction it's supposed to go. It's not fun, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Ray's in that contractor position for a reason, and he's not gonna drop us for another project.
Well, can't he forcibly use a hand, punch some people in the face, and get some things done? Some people in particular, like the 3%er person?
Lori's tone of voice changes again, and now she's mad. That's her mad voice, guys. I know it doesn't sound like it, but she's talking about, Ray's behind the veil, which is her brother Alex Cox. What can he do to help us out? Also, she's kind of making threats again. Can't he go do something with the 3%er, which I believe is Melanie Gibb?
I don't think he wants to be violent. Mm-hmm.
On some points, I'm wondering if she's referring to Chad Daybell as well. So, it's hard to know. But Chad says, I don't think he wants to be violent, which that would be a first, considering what happened to Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, J.J. Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux. And Lori says,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not saying be violent. I'm saying get their attention.
Me too. What he did is kind of mute her effect. Just kind of kept her in her place.
So he's suggesting that Alex Cox won't be violent with Melanie Gibb, but he'll be able to keep her from talking too much. That's what it seems like to me.
Just kind of kept her in her place for quite a while, to the point it almost diffused any value of her.
I'm not talking about that.
Lori gets aggravated, and she's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, Melanie Gibb did keep it on the down low as a witness. That is certain.
In the beginnings, going back over the whole blueprint and all the things that we've been you know. I don't know what the word is. You know, when you go through it. Anyway, a lot of that stuff could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Just minor tweaks.
Yes.
And I don't know why it had to go down this road to where we are now in the project.
Mm-hmm.
Lori is wanting Chad Daybell to do something about this mess that they created. And she's wanting a guarantee. And let's see what he says.
Finished and everything is going to be fine and it's going to work out.
That's what he said.
Well, I need you to tell me that every day, several times.
Okay. My sweet, lovely Lola. Things are going to work out. Not just because he says so, but because I know so. Yeah.
Most of you have heard this multiple times. So what's going on here? She seems to really enjoy this idea that he is connected with a higher power.
It's a marvelous plan. Slight.
How do you know so?
How do I know? It's been shown to me, Annie. I've seen those beautiful eyes filled with tears as she sings to amazing verbs.
What's really happening here is she's asking for a blessing, and that's why she seems so serious.
She would ask Chad for assurance. And who said they had seen the plan? The defendant, Chad Daybell. Your Honor, I'm starting again at 2641.
Their purpose is only beginning. It's hardly begun. And it will be the pair. It won't be solo. And it's going to be incredible.
Be cholo and not solo.
That's right. Yep. It will be the Eurythmics. No solo careers.
Chad mentions that it won't be 2 solo careers. So really what they're talking about, I think, is the fact that they will continue to write these books, even if they are behind bars. Just because they're behind bars doesn't mean that they can't fulfill their mission. Most likely, they will need help from the outside, so someone on the same level as them to accomplish this. And most of you might have a guess already who that could be. So let's see what a few subscribers say. So you have Dennis, who says Chad is nothing but a scammer. Lori is an idiot. 2 together are toxic. I hope that they both sometime admit the wrongs that they committed. And I think we're all on the same page with you, Dennis. We want to see them finally confess. But it's hard to get anything from people who never admit that they're wrong. This is why they got in a situation that they got into. So I guess in the future we'll see. And RH says, Many Faces says, coded call. All the laughing is disgusting. What do you believe that they were talking about? Love to you, Debbie. Love you, girl. And I think it is, they're talking about their future. Next is Diva. She says, yep, I heard these bombshell phone calls then. All I could think is Chad is a true Mr. Potato Head. He is so difficult to listen to. He is like the Talking Dead. It's all too sickening. So, I agree. So listening to these two that seem to lack any type of common sense whatsoever, laughing and giggling while one of them's behind bars and two of her children are lying beneath the grass. I think the main question is this: how is it that a mother could even question that this was a real plan when you consider the fact that your children's demise is to be in the backyard of your lover? I'll do more subscriber comments on future videos. I'm going to end it here for now. I appreciate your input, guys. I love you guys to death. Do not forget to share these missing girls' faces somewhere on your social media today. I'll see you guys soon.